The White House came out with an article today saying that they want to lead in the digital crypto space and they want to sign an executive order. I thought it was really interesting. I read it and, they're talking about CBDC and how, they're going to make their own basically digital currency. What are your thoughts on that?
I thought that the executive order was pretty vague.
Yeah.
And they said a lot of things that give you an idea. What I took out of the entire thing, I think they had 6 points of emphasis. My biggest takeaways are they're going to put an emphasis on forcing these different agencies, whether it be the, Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, CFTC, all these different bureaus who deal with commodities and stocks and assets and taxes, and they're forcing them all to get clear on regulation so that the companies who are building in this industry can start moving forward with their products. I think really the only clarity that's been passed down over the last year was what happened with BlockFi, where they had an interest-bearing account where people could deposit and they could earn like 9% on like ETH or Bitcoin deposits, right? I don't remember specifically which one, maybe both. And you depositing crypto and earning a yield on it made that account register like a security, but it was an unregistered security. And so basically everybody whose money was already deposited, that's cool, you're in there. But the USA was not allowing any more new people to open that account until there was a resolution. That resolution came down recently. BlockFi had to pay like $100 million fine for having an unregistered security. But now what's happened is they've gotten some clarity from the regulators to say, you have to give these disclosures on a regular basis. You're only available to do it in these jurisdictions. These are the guidelines you got to stay within. But now that they know that, it's a product that they can position in the market and people can confidently invest in it. And like an investment advisor can say like, hey, you want to earn a yield on some digital assets? This is an account that the SEC has spoken on and given you clarity on. So those regulations coming down based on the catalyst that is that executive order, which is basically meaning like, we're not voting on this, I'm telling you what to do. That's what executive order means. They're gonna force these agencies to have more of those like regulations come out, so these businesses can actually know, okay, am I in a gray area? Am I left, right? Am I conservative? Like, what should I do in this case?
Yeah.
And when it's more clear, it's gonna give people more confidence to put their money into the industry. So I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Some of the regulations we might not like, is obviously is going to pertain to knowing your customer, is going to come, which is also known as KYC. It's going to come down to anti-money laundering, terrorist financing, reporting transactions over a certain size, under a certain size, a bunch
taxes
of stuff, taxes and all of that. So we might not necessarily like some of the regulations that come down because it's going to tell us what we can and can't do, but it's just more about having clarity so people can move forward. So I took that away from the executive order. And then the second thing, the CBDC thing, like Central Bank Digital Currency, it was also very vague. So there's multiple ways that a central bank digital currency could roll out, and they weren't specific to which pathway they were taking. Like, it could be on one end that every citizen has a bank account with the central bank. And so you literally get your money and pay your taxes directly through that account. You know what I mean? Like if the government does it would be like the equivalent of an airdrop, but like if they give out a subsidy, like they did at the beginning of the pandemic, it would come literally directly from the Federal Reserve or come from the central bank directly to your wallet. So that's an option. Or it could be one where like these commercial banks, or like these banks that we go to in Canada, be your Bank of Montreal, your TD, your Royal Bank. In the US, it'd be your Bank of America, or Chase. Or whatever. Like you could have an account with them, and the CBDCs will go into your Chase bank account. So they weren't clear on exactly how it would work, but because banking is such a big part of like how countries' financial systems work, they provide a lot of like the lending products, mortgages, and all those different kinds of things. I'm thinking it will be more along the lines of the second one, where you're going to have still just an account at the regular bank, but then maybe they're going to have a new technology that rolls out, and we all have a wallet branded to the bank that we've been going to, and you have central bank digital Fed coins in there. But I'm not sure how I feel about the actual coins themselves, like the
Yeah.
actual CBDC itself.
Yeah. My thing is like, I just don't see the difference between that and like paper money.
Well, there's a big difference between paper money and a CBDC, because paper money is the most private form of money. Like paper money is the most number one private asset in the world. Think about it.
Hmm.
You don't know, you don't know where money is. Like money could be
Okay.
buried in the ground. Money could
Yeah, I
be
see
on
what you
my
mean.
person. You could have money. No one knows,
Yeah.
right? Every single CBDC will be, not that digital dollars as they aren't traceable, but
Yeah.
like every CBDC will have that component to it. But also, you'll be able to have more control over
Hmm.
those central bank digital dollars.
Yeah.
So, for one, like things that we're kind of used to, but you'll be able to freeze them easier,
Hmm.
right? So, we don't like how somebody's moving. They're looking like a terrorist. Freeze their CBDC dollars, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How about we give, central bank digital currencies to the whole country? There's certain industries that we want to prop up. There's certain industries that maybe we say are bad for the environment, and they have a bad carbon footprint,
Hmm.
or they're just overall harmful. So we want to make it disincentivize people spending in a certain area.
Yeah.
You could put a limit on, theoretically, this, I'm not saying that this is going to happen, but you could theoretically put a limit on how much money somebody could spend on a certain thing that is bad for the environment.
Hmm.
Or if you give a subsidy, like um, in Canada, they had the CERB when the pandemic hit, and people got like, a check for like $2,000. That $2,000 may only be able to be spent on groceries. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So those are some of the programmatic aspects of having a digital currency that you can't do with just a normal check or with dollars or with a regular banking account.
Yeah.
But there could be some benefits, meaning that like if you're unbanked, potentially there could be just an app that anybody has access to that's not through a commercial bank. That's just like a government app that allows everybody now to have access to this kind of like to money, basically. So if the government is giving you a tax refund or you had to pay your taxes, you don't necessarily have to go through TD, Royal Bank, Chase, Bank of America. So there could potentially be some benefits. You don't want to always look at the negative side of things,
Yeah.
but it's just so vague.
Yeah.
It's
And
so vague.
I think they did that purposely because, obviously people that are in the crypto space, they're gonna have these conversations like we're having, right? So I definitely think that like the government is going to be doing their research and they're going to be they have to. You can't just roll something out and not necessarily, you can't do it and not know what you're doing. You know what I mean? Um, and I think the biggest thing for me, like when I read it, was like the privacy aspect. And I know that like the money that we have in our bank accounts at the end of the day, like it's available for the government to see if they really needed to. But I feel like this is kind of something that like makes Bitcoin look more attractive to people that understand Bitcoin and the decentralization of Bitcoin and what it does for people that may want a different form of money that isn't easily tracked or not trackable at all, unless you look at the blockchain, right? What do you think that this does for Bitcoin? Because crypto did pump a bit today, and it was damn near right after that executive order came out.
And it illuminates the characteristics of something like a Bitcoin that people don't put as much emphasis on until they're in a sticky situation. And so there was a lot more talk about that recently when people, it's like made headlines about people having their bank accounts frozen up because they were involved with the wrong group that was out of favor. Um, or if like you're trying to coordinate with somebody else and having something like Bitcoin as an instrument of like being able to truly own your money and move it where you want it to go or keep it protected from somebody who's trying to confiscate it from you, like that's a valuable thing. If you're talking about storing your life savings or something that's truly of value, of course, you're going to have to pay your bills. So you're going to need a certain amount of like fiat dollars.
Yeah.
But if there was even a small percentage chance of, if somebody's thinking to themselves like, yo, there is a percentage chance that like my bank account could get froze, or my cousin, I might not be able to send my cousin money the way that I wanted to, or, you know, the country where I'm from and the country where I live have beef. So like I might not be able to send money back to my family because Western Union is cut off back there. Or,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? There's just so many number of use cases where you might want an open permissionless network that anybody can participate in. And you might want an asset that is censorship resistant and non-confiscatable. And so things like Bitcoin become more attractive when people who are like, that could never happen to me, when it starts happening to them, you're like, damn,
Yeah.
I might as well have some just in case this thing comes in handy.